Hey, soon-to-be Zone Ghouls, welcome back. Today we're going to do a little work behind the scenes and talk about these things known as threats. This is to incorporate new elements of excitement and unpredictability into the game, so we can draw a card or roll on the threat chart at the start of every session. Now this can also be done whenever it feels right to add a new challenge to the game. So to draw cards, we have three options. First, the players draw a card and they read it out loud. The cards don't give much away so that you know. It's not a big deal. Second, the GM draws a card and then doesn't reveal it. And third, you just choose a specific threat instead of rolling randomly or drawing a card. I'd recommend using the second or the third option where the GM either draws or rolls using the chart or just chooses one. The chart only lists names of the entries, while the cards contain some text for information about each threat, kind of flavor text. But for more info, refer to Chapter 10 in the core book. The GM starts with a threat, but doesn't have to use it immediately, unless, of course, it prompts some top-of-the-head improvisation that they can run with. Now, unfortunately, the threat chart is not listed on the GM screen, so you'll need to make a cheat sheet or bookmark the PDF or core book. The reason I shy away from having the players draw a threat card is not that it gives too much away, but that some of the description text feels a bit off if it's not adapted on the fly. If you've got some mindful players at the table who can keep things in context, go ahead and have them draw a card. So these threats describe potential internal or external dangers to the Ark, the people, or the PCs. And next, I'm going to break down these threats into 7 subcategories. Environmental, the sinkhole, the zone shakes, and starfall. Attacks on the Ark, the hell drivers, and zone ghouls attack. Resource problems, the hunger and the last drop. Things in the zone, the derelict oil rig, the mysterious ruin, the killing machine. Everybody's favorite, monster hunting, a new kind of beast, and the zone monster. One I call They Live Too, the man on the beach, the zone cult, the wanderers, and the other people. And the most significant subcategory is trouble at the Ark. Revolution, mutant messiah, murder at the Ark, boss versus boss, lost treasure, project sabotaged, zone fever, missing persons, and child of the people. As the game master, you'll introduce this new threat into the game. This threat should serve as a backdrop for the session and affect everyone, including the people and the player characters. If the PCs are not directly impacted, consider having one of those NPCs they care about getting in trouble. While the threat should be present throughout the session, it does not have to dominate it. So remember, if the PCs are already busy with something else, leave them be. Add the new threat to the mix later on to mix things up and change the balance of power. Sinkhole's great for that. When introducing the threat, it's best to do so early in the session, but it doesn't have to be the first thing that happens right at the beginning. As always, modify or add to these threats as you see fit. Come up with some ideas of your own. And how the group engages with or hears about these threats depends on the actions of the characters and where they're at during gameplay. As the GM, keep track of which threats you've introduced, how they develop over time, and how and when you may have introduced them to the player characters. This chart represents potential 25 new main ideas or side zone incursions and opportunities to create something new for the zone. And considering what we've talked about, creates a lot of room to playing in the game. Yes, sure, there is some prep work to doing these threats, but some can go off while playing if the GM is quick on their feet. Get some bright colored post-it notes, the big ones and wide ones that are easy enough to write on. You're going to put those on the various pages where important information is kept in the core book if you're playing at the table. So between color coding and writing short notes on those tabs, you as the GM can get to the information quickly without slowing down the game. This is great for other games too. Throughout some upcoming videos, we'll dive into these threats by the book and then spin up some recommendations for how to introduce them. potential pacing for when they are introduced, and some alternate views on the book descriptions. Now get out there and find some artifacts for the Dawn Vault. Thanks for checking out another Mutant Year Zero video where we talk about things involved in just playing the core book. Remember, I know it's a ways out. We got 4 more books to cover coming up later on, but this one we need to get out of the way. One of the other things I do want to point out about playing the core book is that when you look at all the various core books together, this one really is about playing in an urban setting. So when you're talking about setting up the zone, getting your zone map together, and everything like that, like we talked about in other videos, take everything into context. World building and getting set up to play in this game is just as much fun as when you get out there and romp and stomp in the zone. So, as always, play more games, have some fun, and be good to each other.